Hello, hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well let's learn English together. Hello people, hello and welcome to Monday. Yes, it's true, another weekend has flown out of the window, well, sort of, and now here we are once more on a Monday. Yes, the cycle of the calendar rolls on, and as sure as night follows day, Monday follows Sunday. Yes, and that's where we are now. Yes, Monday, marvelous Monday. And let's not forget about our obligations regarding protocol. So, let me ask you, how was your weekend? Was it a wonderful weekend? Did you have a grand time? Did you enjoy yourselves? Did you do everything that you wanted to? Well, let's hope so. If you didn't manage to get everything done that you wanted to do, then, well, you'll have to try and organize your time more efficiently next weekend. As for me, yes, I had a great weekend. Thanks for asking. All right, now to the business of the day. It's Monday, the first day of the week, the standard working week. That is, obviously, but you all knew that that was what I meant, didn't you? Of course you did. So, where was I? Oh yes, it's Monday, as we've already established. And that means that today we're starting the second week of this, what is it?
The mega revision, part 4.
Oh, come on, guys. What was that? Jesus. Try a little bit harder. This is a celebration of English, not a wake. I'll tell you what, can we get rid of those guys and get the other guy back? Yes, you know, the funny green chap. No, not him. Yoda might be great at kung fu and stuff, but his word order is, well, problematic. Not him. I was thinking of the other green bloke. You can't be serious. You are joking, aren't you? That guy can barely communicate in English. And, well, he's a little bit too intense for a Monday, don't you think? No, he won't do. Where's the other green guy? You know, the amphibian. Kermit. Isn't he available?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready for Mega Revision Part 4! Yeah!
Thank you, Kermit. Well done. And thanks for lifting our spirits. Those Indian blokes were awfully depressing, weren't they? All right. Well, as we heard from our friend Kermit, it's time for us to get stuck in to another week of the Mega Revision Part 4. Yes, people, it's here, it's now, and we're off. I tried to tidy my t-shirts, but, well, it turned out to be a bit of a mammoth task. It seems that I've got too many t-shirts and they're all piled on top of each other, stacked up higher than the cheese in Alfredo's arms. And, well, they're in a part of a cupboard which is very high up. And because it's so high up, well, that makes it difficult to see what's where. And I can use the ladder to see what's where, but using a ladder in a small cupboard means that there's not a lot of room to move in. There's not a lot of room to maneuver. Have you heard that word before? Maneuver. Well, as you can see from the spelling, it comes from French. Just another word that the English language borrowed from another language. But we don't have to worry about that. We're not concerned with the origins of the word, only the meaning. All right, now, the word to maneuver can be a noun or a verb. We can talk about a maneuver, or we can use the verb to maneuver. Now, the verb means to skillfully move or carefully move. So, if we say that somebody maneuvered their car out of a very tight parking space, then we're communicating that this was a very difficult thing to do. There was very little space for them to move their car, but they managed to. They got their car out of a very tight space successfully. If we just say that somebody drove their car out of a parking space, then we're saying that there was nothing special going on. It was a normal parking space. There was lots of room. So they just drove out like normal. Think about downhill skiing. Think about when skiers take part in slalom. What they have to do is maneuver themselves around the poles or gates. It's something that requires skill. So we can use the verb to maneuver. They have to race down the side of a mountain, skillfully moving in and out between poles or gates. They have to skillfully maneuver themselves through the gates, turning at high speed whilst they're rocketing down a mountain covered in snow.
Sometimes that's down to the tips of the skis being a little sharper than he would have anticipated, because the edge obviously goes from tip to tail, so the sharper the tip, the easier the ski bite. So whether he requested that or whether it was a slight oversight by his technician.
Last lesson, as you all recall, we were talking about the two ways that we can use the verb to have, weren't we? We talked about the fact that some people, like me, normally use the verb have together with got. And that means that when we want to form a question in the present simple, we don't use the auxiliary verb to do. The same thing also happens when we're making negative sentences using have got. Unlike most negative sentences in the present simple, when we're making a negative sentence in the present simple using have got, we don't require the auxiliary verb to do. We just add the adverb not, putting it between have and got. All right, so that was that, and now, what's coming up now? Well, we've looked at various bits of grammar connected to the present simple, so let's now move on to the present continuous and check that we all know our onions about that tense too. Okay, so the present continuous, what's that all about? Well, we know, don't we? We know when we use the present simple. We use the present simple for things which happen all the time or sometimes, things in general. We use the present simple to give information about things which don't change. When we tell people where we live, what our jobs are, if we're married or single, what our names are. All of these things are things that don't change. Well, normally they don't change. So that means we use the present simple with them. When we use the present continuous, however, we're talking about something which is happening now, when we're speaking, or around now. I drive a car, but I'm not driving a car now, am I? No, I'm standing in a TV studio, in front of a camera, talking to you. Okay, now we all remember that when we use the present continuous, we often use it to talk about something which is temporary, not permanent. We use the continuous tenses to talk about something which doesn't last very long. If I tell you that it's raining, then we automatically assume that it's not going to rain for years and years and years. It's raining now, but we expect that it's going to stop. It's not permanent. We also use the continuous to talk about temporary situations. I bike to work. My bike's broken, so I'm walking to work. We live in Budapest. I'm living in a small village near Lake Balaton. Okay, so in those two sets of sentences, we can see the difference that I was talking about. I bike to work uses the present simple because we're talking about a habit, a regularly occurring event, something that happens all of the time. In the next sentence, I'm describing a temporary situation. I'm walking to work at this time, happening now or around now, because my bike is broken. This is a temporary situation. Normally, I go to work on my bike, but now, for a few days or maybe a week, we don't know exactly, I'm walking to work. I'm going to work on foot because my bike has got a problem. It isn't working properly. Okay. So we know about the use of the present continuous. What about the form of the tense? How do we form the present continuous? Well, who remembers what we need? Yes, that's right. To make the present continuous, we use the verb to be, correctly conjugated, together with a main verb in the ing form. So, What forms of the verb to be do we know? Yes, that's right. The verb to be has got 3 forms. Count them. 1, 2, 3.
3. Now let's stomp 3 times. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, Count von Count. Yes, there are 3 forms. Am, are, and is. If the subject is I, the first person singular, then we use am, I am. If the subject is you, the second person singular, or any of the plural forms, then we use are. You are, we are, you are, and they are. And if the subject of our sentence is the third person singular, then we use is. He is, she is, and it is. All right, so that's the verb to be. Good. Now, we use that verb correctly conjugated for the subject or subject pronoun that we're using, and then we add a verb in the ing form. Now, is there anything we need to watch out for? Yes, there is, isn't there? Yes, when we add the ing ending to some verbs, we have to be careful with the spelling. Yes, it's English spelling coming back into our lives, causing problems like a cactus in one of your socks. When we want to add ing to the end of some verbs, it's very simple. All we do is add ing to the end of the verb. All right, but that won't work with all verbs, will it? No. If the verb we want to use, if the main verb ends in the letter E, then we can't just add ing to the end. No. If the verb ends in E, like the verb to make or the verb to come, for example, we have to remove the E before we add the ing ending. So we have to exercise caution with verbs like bake, make, drive, and write. Because all of those verbs end in E, we have to remember to chop off the E before we add the ing ending. So bake becomes baking with no E. Make becomes making with no E. Drive becomes driving with no E. And write becomes writing with no E. I am writing a letter to the newspaper. You are baking bread. He is driving to work. She is living with her parents at the moment. The guide dogs, it is guiding the blind man across the zebra crossing. We are taking the cat to the vet. You are making a mess with that paint. They are dining at the Ponzi Peacock tonight. Okay, so as we know, that's one area where we have to exercise a little bit of caution. Okay, now what about other problems with spelling? Well, if the verb ends in IE, we also have to be a little bit careful when we make the ing form. If the verb ends in IE, like the verb to lie, or the verb to tie, or the verb to die, then we have to remove the IE ending and replace it with Y before we add the ing ending. So we replace the IE ending with Y and then add ing. Or if you want to think of it another way, we take off the IE and add ying. So lie becomes lying, tie changes to tying, and die becomes dying. Now, this group is a small group. There really aren't that many verbs in the English language which end in IE, so it's not going to cause us too many problems. He's not dying at the moment, I'm tying my shoelaces, they're lying on my bed. And that's it. Yes, that's all the time that we've got for you today. Yes, it's true. Would I lie to you? No, of course not. Well, not about something important. I might slip the odd white lie in now and then, but I wouldn't lie about something important. So, as I told you all just now, the time is swiftly approaching when we have to part. I'm going home, coffee, and as for you lot, well, talk to the monkey, tickle the parrot, feed the dog, feed the cat, feed the snake. If you've got a snake, that is. I'll see you all tomorrow and we'll continue down the road which takes us through, around, under and over Revision City. That place we like to visit every now and then. See you tomorrow, people. See you later. www.mediaclick.hu. Bye!